With Amazon continuing to grow and more people starting to learn and discover what it is, I get asked all the time, is it too late or is it really worth it to start selling on Amazon? The answer I've broken down into 3 simple points so that you can better understand the situation as a whole. The first being Amazon's growth, and then the second, how many competitors and other people there are selling on there now. And the third is how easy it is to learn and sell a product that is actually successful. So then you can get to the end of the video and you'll be able to make that decision whether or not you think it's worth it for yourself. If you get to the end and you find you want a bit more in-depth training on how to actually sell on Amazon, down in the description I have my free live trainings that I run every Sunday. I have a bit more time to go with you live in depth into actual strategies on how to sell on Amazon. So if you think that you need that little bit of extra help, it's that first link down in the description below. So Amazon is one of the fastest growing companies of all time, and their induction into Australia has been no different, with them now owning the largest warehouse in Australia and last year doubling their gross revenue. Now I have a lot of people say to me that like, well, what if they were just growing and doing so well because COVID came along and everyone had to stay indoors and shop online? And my answer to that is it didn't just create a spike and a down for Amazon. All it's really done is speed up the process that was gonna happen eventually anyway. So all that's happened is all these Australians who have never even heard of Amazon all had to stay in their homes, and they've discovered that there's this service that can ship them products for the exact same price, super quick to their door, so they don't even have to leave their very own homes like they would normally to go to the shops and get the exact same product. So the uptake of Prime memberships in Australia has absolutely skyrocketed, and the impact that it's had on the giant retailers in Australia has been astronomical. You'll see up on screen here now a graph showing the potential loss for some of the giant retailers that you would have grown up with and heard in your everyday life. And I'm sure you've heard on the news a lot how job cuts have been happening across the country, whereas with Amazon, just in the seasonal period alone, they've put in over 1,000 new jobs. To summarize on their growth last year, Amazon did about $2.6 billion in revenue, and they're set to this year crack $5 billion, which is an insane amount of money and an insane amount of growth for an Australian company. And at the moment, they only have the 2 warehouses here in Australia, one in Melbourne and one in Sydney, so they can do same-day delivery to those 2 cities, but they don't have anything in Queensland or Western Australia, South Australia yet. So all those places still a several-day delivery. So imagine as they continue to roll it out, how much quicker people are going to like Amazon and how many more people are going to take it up as their preferred way of shopping. The next main point for you to consider is how many other people and how many competitors there are actually selling on Amazon Australia now. And there's a couple of ways that I want you to look at this and to understand it. At the moment on Amazon Australia, it is mainly made up of 1, buyers. There's a heap of buyers on there. And then of course the sellers. But then of those sellers, the majority are either 1, big brands who don't put in any effort to their listings at all, or 2 are people who have no idea what they're doing. Now there are a small percentage of people like myself who have been trained and maybe like you have gone out and watched some of these videos or participated in a course and gotten the correct training, who are able there to dominate the rest of the people who are sellers. So you have these big companies who just have Jerry who works in e-commerce, and he's just been given their entire catalog to just upload to Amazon. So it has maybe 2 images, no description, no good branding or anything, and they're just on there thinking they can take any sales they like. So it's very easy to come along and just have a little bit more patience, put in a little bit more effort, and you're going to absolutely dominate those big brands. And then you have the other people who maybe think that like Amazon is like eBay, or they're coming from the overseas countries and they're trying to sell without having any stock here in Australia. So Amazon is trying to steer away from them because 1, they're not converting very well, and they have really high shipping times because all of their stock is somewhere overseas. So then 3, where that leaves the people who are actually trained, and I wanted to touch on this because a lot of people don't understand the advantage they have for living here in Australia. Okay, so if you have the correct training on how to actually sell sell well on Amazon, you can order stock and you can bring it here to the warehouses in Australia. And if you know how to get good photos done, have good branding, write out a good listing, you're gonna be put above those big companies. You're gonna dominate those people who don't know what they're doing. And because you have stock here in the country, Amazon's gonna push your product harder because they can ship it out to people quicker. They don't have to wait for it to arrive from overseas. And if you live here in Australia, you of course know the market, okay? You know what Australians like, you know what our culture is, the kind of themes that we like and the color schemes. So it's very easy for you to go about these products and compete with the people who are selling from overseas who have no idea what Australians like. And then the third major point is so many people think like, yeah, it'd be cool to get into it. I see some like good money being made on there, but like I'm not a creative person, right? I don't know how to invent things or come up with my own ideas. And it's where I say to people, they're like, you don't need to have a Shark Tank idea, okay? You don't need to be an inventor, but you do just need to innovate. If you've seen any of my other videos, I always teach that when you get a research tool, you can go across to the American marketplace, which is much more mature and does insane amount of numbers. And you can go on there and find products, find niches that are selling well, and then look across and see if anyone's doing it in the Australian market. Now, to be fair, there's niches like your dog brushes and like dog seats and things that are really lightweight and very competitive in the US market that are already getting a bit competitive here in Australia. But the 90% of the rest of the market, you can look what's doing well in the US and then bring it over to Australia and put it in there. And because again, you live here in Australia, all you have to do is switch the branding up a little bit, maybe change the color, maybe change the design a bit to something that Australians are gonna like instead of the Americans. Now, an example I always talk about, which you'll see on screen here, is a pool skimmer, right? In America, these pool skimmers are doing incredibly well. You see the numbers there are insane, and a general guide is, at the moment, you can see whatever's being done in America, Australia is probably gonna grow to 1/3 or more of the size in revenue. So all you'd have to do is bring that pool skimmer, the exact design, across to Australia, and then maybe just tweak it a little bit, okay? Just innovate that little bit, put in that little bit of extra effort that nobody else does. Maybe change the branding up so it's like a crocodile, right? Or a kangaroo. And then you have the branding done so it's really macho and like it's a really strong product, okay? But then you do similar photos because you already know that that's winning, but nobody's doing it here in this market. And if you think that most people give a shit and that they care, then you're making a sad mistake, okay? Most people's vision is all the way down here. They have no vision and they have no standards and they suck at recruiting people. And if you just take that little bit of extra care and you bring your vision up here and you set your standards high for the kind of product and the branding that you want to make, and you recruit someone who's going to help you bring it all to life, then you're going to absolutely dominate all these other people who are selling there on the market. So based off those points, you can see the potential that is still in Amazon Australia. But I guess what it all comes down to is the amount of effort and time that you're going to be able to put in. There's that old saying that if you aim for nothing, you're going to hit with amazing accuracy. Okay, so you can go in and you can be like these people that have vision all the way down here and they have no idea what they're doing, and they go in and they blunder around and they launch one product and it fails, and so they quit and they say like Amazon Australia doesn't work. Or you can go in with the correct training, you can have high vision, high standards, and be great at recruiting people to bring it all together, and you can dominate the vast opportunity that is still there in Amazon Australia. Obviously, as time goes on, it's not going to be as easy an opportunity as it is in time right now, but as long as you have the ability and you learn the skill to innovate, there will always be a place for you to make money. So if you guys want a bit more in-depth guide or want to learn how to sell on Amazon Australia, we have access to our Amazon Australia University down in the description. It's on sale at the moment. Or you can come along to my Sunday live training sessions. It's where I go in a bit more depth about how you can actually adapt strategies to sell on the Australian marketplace. That's down in the description as well. But I'm so proud of you guys for taking this extra step to learn a new skill and to have a big change on your future. And remember, you're only one product away from living the life of your dreams. Thank you so much, guys. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.